Mm, not live in the members area. Okay. Why aren't you going live in the members area? It's just on a loop. Oh, all right, cool. It's live. All right. So here we go. Hey guys, I'm just getting everything going here. So just give me a second while I do all this stuff. I've got this going live in a few different places, so I want to make sure it's working everywhere. Honestly, there's not much that I can do at this point, but I think we've got everything going. So yeah, wherever you are watching this, go ahead and say hi. By the way, I'm not on camera right now because yeah, I was behind the computer making sure that everything's working. Anyways, here I am now. So welcome to the live workout. We haven't done one of these. I haven't done this for YouTube in a long time, so I'm excited to do this. Specifically for these are going to be great follow-along workouts for anybody. We're going to focus on strength. We're going to focus on active mobility. We're going to focus on balance. We're going to focus on getting a really good workout. Of course, I'm going to present a lot of good modifications. So if you are newer or if you are inflexible, don't worry, you'll be able to keep up, and I'll make sure that you feel accounted for in the instruction and the modifications. Um, this has more of a focus on weightlifters. So really kind of focusing on how can we use yoga and isometric exercise, mobility work, how can we use that to improve your performance in lifting, not just to improve it in sense of being able to lift more, being able to lift longer, but also being able to lift with less pain, with less discomfort, making sure that you can do your workouts more consistently. And so that's the kind of the big idea that I want to um, focus on with this. Shout out to our members. This is going live to the Manful Yoga app and the members area. So shout out to the members if you guys are watching. Looking forward to you guys joining me for this. If you don't know about the Manful Yoga app and members area, yes, there's a YouTube channel, there's a Facebook page, there's Instagram. But most of what I do is with the Manful Yoga app and members area. That's where I have all the programs, structured schedules of workouts, different focuses, individual workouts. Most of our YouTube workouts are 10 to 15 minutes, and the members area was where I put our longer 30-minute workouts. But really the big benefit there is that you're going to get more structured workout programs and you're going to get better results just because it's easier to be consistent. You've got a community there and lots of other complementary resources that are going to help you with motivation and consistency. So that's all at manfulyoga.com/join if you want to learn more. But yeah, we're going to get into our workout here. So thanks for joining, guys. All right. Equipment wise, you are going to need two blocks. If you don't have blocks, you can get by with a stack of books. You can even use a water bottle if you want. I'm also going to have a strap handy just in case we're going to do some strap stretches. You can also use a resistance band if it's thick enough, that will work. And then I've got my yoga mat. This is our Manful Yoga Cork yoga mat, bigger, wider, longer, thicker, and also with alignment markings. And it also has a non-slip surface. So when you sweat, you don't move. And then I've also got the knee pads. So knee pads are super helpful just because it doesn't really feel great to put your knees on the ground when you're doing a lunge. So this is just going to make it feel a lot easier. Yeah, so I'm doing one of these today. If you're watching it live, it is Tuesday, 12 p.m. Central Time. And I'm also doing another one of these free live ones on Thursday. So 2 days from now at 4 p.m. Central Time. And then you'll be able to watch these, as long as they live on YouTube. So if you're joining live, go ahead and say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. And if you're watching the pre-recorded version or the recorded version, then, you know, say hi either way. Um, and then I am going to be doing 2 more weeks of these. If you want, that is a whole series that you can buy separately on the Manful Yoga app and members area. So if you want to do that, head to the link in the description once it's there, and you can sign up for those. All right, here we go. So we're going to start off with core and back. That's super important, and that's what I like to do in most of my warm-ups. Even if it's just a yoga warm-up, I like to make sure that we're getting core and hips warm. So go ahead and start on your back. You're gonna bring your arms out to the side, just get everything nice and open. Most people don't do much opening up of the chest. So even just lying down on your back and doing this is going to feel great. From here, you're going to bring your knees over your hips, like so. Pull your lower back into the ground. So if you were to push your hands under your lower back, you shouldn't feel any gap there, right? You want to make sure that you can't slip your hands underneath your back. So really pull your abs down and try to maintain that through the duration of this exercise. This is a dead bug variation. So we're going to start with core warm up. Go ahead and bring your left leg forward, and then you can bring your leg as close to the ground as you want, but only if your lower back stays in contact with the ground. So if your leg goes down and your back arches off the ground, then don't bring the leg as far forward. And then bring that leg back in. Again, pull the lower back into the ground. Bring your right leg forward. Allow the leg to come closer to the ground. Again, make sure that the lower back stays in contact with the ground. If you notice that it arches and picks up the ground, right, don't bring it as far forward. You can keep it further back. And then switch. And what I like doing here is instead of doing like these kind of like these very quick, mindless reps, is I'm doing them very slowly and controlled. I like to spend at least 5 seconds, 10, even 15 seconds in these positions before I switch sides, just so I can build some muscle memory in that position, but also really start to get my abs to fire. By the way, this is also a great warm up for weightlifting. A lot of the same exercises that are going to help your performance in lifting are also great as warm ups. So feel free to use this workout as inspiration for a warm up as well. All right, bring the legs back in, arms back out to the side, plant your feet. We're going to come up into a bridge position here. So squeeze your butt, drive your hips up. And instead of thinking of lifting your back up, I want you to press your feet into the ground to press your hips in the air. Squeeze your butt cheeks. Want to get the glutes really engaged here. And then use your feet to drag your shoulders forward 1/2 inch, right? So use the feet, kind of squeezing the heels toward the shoulders to really engage your hamstrings. And then from here, we're going to do a little bit of a bridge march. So check in with your hips. You can see your hips. And then we want to slowly lift one foot off the ground. Keep the hips level. Don't let them change, right? So don't let your hips dip as one comes off the ground. Set that left foot down and then hover your right foot. Set your right foot down, hover your left foot. So our goal here is to just do this little bridge march back and forth. And you'll notice that as you lift one foot off the ground, the other hip has to really stabilize to prevent you uh, from prevent the hips from coming uneven. So just going back and forth there. And this is really good again for warming up your glutes, getting your hips active. If you have knee pain or if you have back pain when you exercise, particularly when you lift, these are all the things that we're going to do to help you with anticipating and preventing that lower back pain. Some of you might notice an immediate improvement. For most of you guys, you're going to have to do this stuff on a consistent basis in order to notice results. So, again, if you can do like 3 times per week, 30 minutes a day, even 20 minutes per day, so that you can solve the imbalances and the weaknesses at the source, that's what's going to help with relieving pain that you have during lifting. But it does have to be consistently, and following a structured program is the easiest way to do that. All right, go ahead and release down. Nice. From here, bring your knees in toward your chest. Squeeze your knees in toward your shoulders. Keep your lower back on the ground. And then I just want you to do kind of a modified crunch here. You're going to crunch up the best you can. Reach your arms toward the bottom of the mat. Tuck your chin. Pull your lower back down. Squeeze your knees in toward your shoulders. Keep the lower back on the ground. And we're going to breathe here for 3 breaths. Flex your toes toward your shin. And as you inhale, try to breathe into your obliques, breathe into your abs, breathe into your back. So expanding as you inhale, and then really squeezing out all the air as you exhale. One more breath here. All right, plant the feet and release down. And if you want a little break here, you can bring your knees from side to side, keep your flat on the ground, keep your back or keep your shoulders flat on the ground, feet flat on the ground. So this is something that I like doing in the morning a lot just to loosen up the lower back. Once you do a little bit of core work, you should notice that your back loosens up a bit. So this is nice to do after some core work as well. All right, from here, we're going to do some kind of dynamic twist. So I want you to bring your knees over your hips. You're going to bring your legs slowly over toward the left. Let them relax on the ground. If you notice that they're not quite relaxing on the ground, and if your shoulder's coming off the ground, kind of like this when you do a twist, then you can relax your knees on a block here just to give yourself a little lift. Now from here, we're going to do some what are called book openers. So I want you to bring your right arm to your left hand like this, lying on the ground, and then reach your arm up and over to the right as you exhale. Inhale to bring your arm back. Exhale, open up. And we're doing 5 of these. So, right, there's nothing life changing about this pose. This isn't super hard to do, but this is just an easy, nice movement to open up your spine. Most guys who lift have some sort of office job, right? You're not doing as much exercise as you should during the day. You're spending a lot of time sitting. So, we need to make sure that you open up the spine, that you do things that are kind of anticipating and preventing what you do in that seated position during the day. All right, let's go ahead and switch sides. So bring your legs over to the right. And so it's not just enough to work on, strength. You also have to work on flexibility. So right arm is now extended out to the right. You're going to bring your left hand on top of the right hand. Take a breath in. As you exhale, reach up and over to the left. Stretch. And then inhale, come back. So going up to 5 here. Actually, last time I did like 8 because I talked. So doing about 8 here as well. And again, I can't stress this enough, but you should notice that you'll feel better after just doing this one session. Your lifting will probably feel better the next day, maybe even the day afterwards, definitely the day of. But in order to continue to feel good, this is something that you have to work into your schedule on a consistent basis. And again, the best way to be consistent and to make sure that you're doing the right movements is to follow a structured program. And that's exactly what we do in Man Flow Yoga. Give you a structured program to follow, make sure that you're doing the movements, and help you stay consistent. We do one more of these. Open up. All right. And then legs back to the middle. One other thing that I really notice with people is poor posture and a lack of upper back strength. So we're going to do kind of this unique series right now that's going to help with addressing that. This is not something that you'll find in a typical yoga class, but it's really effective, really helpful. So I'm going to have you guys do this from a tabletop position. You can also do it from flat on the ground in a prone position, lying on your chest, but it is a lot harder. So we're going to do kind of like the beginner version here. So hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips. Tuck your toes. I know most of you guys don't do enough toe stretches, so we're going to tuck the toes so that you make sure that you're stretching your toes. And then extend your left arm straight forward. Make sure that you're not lifting up your left torso or your left shoulder as you do this. So keep your chest facing straight down, right? So if you're looking at me kind of straight on here, you want to make sure that I'm not doing this when I lift my arm up, but that I'm keeping my shoulders very neutral. And then from here, squeeze your arm up as high as you can. And you should feel your upper back working pretty hard here. So we're just going to squeeze your arm up, lock out your arms, right? Make it as straight as you can. If you want to make this a little more challenging, you can grab a yoga block. It's a good amount of weight. And then squeeze that up. So we're going to hold here for 10 seconds. If you want to make this even more challenging, add a bird dog. So bring your right leg straight back. Make sure the hips stay level. Keep squeezing the arm up. Make sure that your back is not arched. And then release. From here, we're going to switch sides. So if you want the block in the right hand, go for that. You also don't need the block, but it can be more challenging if you want to try it. And then lift your right arm up. Make sure that that arm is straight. Make sure that you are not compensating by lifting up your shoulder, right? So we're only lifting the arm here, and then your shoulders are facing straight down. So breathing in and out of your nose here. All right, we want to build that focus and that discipline to be able to breathe in and out of your nose, even as the exercise gets tough. Try to squeeze it up a little bit higher.
And if you want to make this more challenging, right, add the block, maybe add in the bird dog. So bring your left leg straight back. Now you've got the shoulder exercise and a core exercise. And that's, again, this is what's really going to help with lifting, building core strength, um, building shoulder strength, not just shoulder strength through upper body exercises like chest press, right, or like shoulder press, but actually working overhead range of motion. All right, release that down. And now we're gonna add one more in. So now plant your right hand, hold the block in your left hand. We're gonna come out to a T arm with your left arm. If you look at me from the side here, notice that I'm not lifting up my left shoulder, right? I'm not opening up my left shoulder like this and twisting open, but I'm keeping my chest facing straight down, squeezing the left arm up. And I also want to make sure that the shoulder stays relatively close to the hips, right? So I'm not lifting up with my shoulder up near my ear like this, but keeping my arm or my shoulder kind of depressed down away from your ears. Breathe in and out of your nose. Again, yes, it's difficult, but we can breathe through it. Last breath here. And release. All right, we're going to switch sides. So last one of these little shoulder exercises. And again, these are meant to be hard. So they are working on your weaknesses. If you can't do this without a lot of shaking, which is, normal even for fit guys that you're going to shake as you're doing this, then that's just a good sign that this is something you should do more often. It's working on a pretty significant weakness. You're not going to get stronger by doing the same things over and over again. Well, you will, but a much better way to get stronger is to also work on your weaknesses, work on the things that are challenging for you, that challenge your muscles, but don't hurt your joints. And that's a lot of what we do with Manful Yoga. A lot of challenging stuff from a muscular perspective, but not putting too much strain on the joints. All right. And then release. All right. So shoulders are active, your core is active. Let's do a little bit more hip work. So I'm going to have you grab your blocks. We're going to go into just a controlled low lunge. So blocks on either side of the mat. Step your right foot up, keep your left toes tucked, hands on the blocks. Allow your hips to sink forward. Just find like a comfortable range of motion, right? So if you allow the hips to sink forward, you're feeling a little bit of stretch, then that's where we want to be. Don't force your hips to go super open here, right? We're just warming up. So we're just kind of starting the routine. So back toes are tucked, hands on those blocks. And then I want you to be active here. So squeeze your left thigh, squeeze your left glute, press your right hip toward your right heel. And as you establish some comfort or kind of familiarity in this pose, now I want you to lift your arms up off the blocks, bring your arms straight up, and then into goalpost arms. So I want you to do a very active low lunge here, right? So the lower body is really active. I'm going to squeeze my elbows back. So I'm getting my upper back active here, building muscle awareness and the external rotators of the shoulder, right? So the upper back, kind of the outside of the upper back. I want to feel those muscles working as I squeeze my elbows back, palms facing slightly up, chest open, and then also feeling strong through the lower body, right? Digging down to the right foot, squeezing my left thigh, squeezing my left glute, staying active there. And if you're doing all those things, you should notice that your chest is opening up, your hip flexors are opening up. So we're using active muscle engagement to open up the body. All right, let's go ahead and release. Switch sides. And this is where the knee pad can come in handy. So if you're doing that and you notice like, oh, that's kind of uncomfortable in the knees, that's where a knee pad can come in handy. So use the knee pad in lunges where your knee is down and save your knees. So blocks on either side of that front foot. Again, back toes are tucked. Back toes are tucked. That's going to help you be more active through the leg, but most of us don't do enough toe stretching again. So tuck the back toes. Give yourself a couple of breaths to get set in the low lunge. So you're allowing your hips to sink forward just as much as they can, kind of without pushing it too much. Just trying to get a stretch through the front of your right hip flexors, right? So the front of your right hip. squeezing your right glute. If you don't have, if you can't, actively engage your glutes upon command. So if I say squeeze your glutes, you're like, I can't do that. That's something that you will be able to do when you're consistent with these workouts. So again, said it a couple times, but the only way that you're going to really get better at this stuff is doing it consistently. The good news is that we've got structured programs. We do make our workouts for beginners and inflexible guys. That's what makes manful yoga different from all the other yoga. So if you're watching this and thinking, oh, I'm not flexible enough, or like, oh, I'm not strong enough, it's like, actually, you are perfect for this because you're probably not going to be able to do the other stuff. This is a more beginner friendly, but still very effective, very strength focused. All right, go ahead and come up from there. And again, let's do the goalpost arm. So open up the chest, add a little bit of a back bend. Make sure that you're not arching your back too much here. So if you add that back bend in and you feel like there's pain in the lower back, don't add as much arch to your back, right? So just find something where, yes, you're getting that stretch through the right hip flexors, your legs are active, your chest is opening, but there's no pain. And that's a big, guideline in general here is you want to do the poses in a way that does not cause pain. So this should feel manageable. Um, by manageable, I mean it shouldn't feel painful. It might feel uncomfortable because you're doing something that's challenging, but you shouldn't have a sharp pinching sensation. So always listen to your body. That's your number one. That's your number one informant. So listen to your body more than you would listen to me. And then over time, you'll kind of understand, okay, what can I push myself into and what feels like too much? But you've got to start establishing some consistency in order to understand, kind of what you can do and what you can't do. So as you're starting, err on the side of caution, take it easier. All right, go ahead and release. From here, let's go ahead and stand up. So we had a really nice active warm up for that, right? The lower body's pretty warm, your core is warm, you got some good shoulder stuff going on. Let's start some balance work. And balance work is really good, not just as a warm up, but also as a standalone exercise. So, really easy. We're going to start with a one leg balance. Start on your right foot. Go ahead and focus on a non moving point at eye level. And then lift your left knee up to hip level. Just starting there. Focus on that non moving point right in front of you. And you might notice that you start to wobble as you do this, right? And that's normal. You have to practice balance to be able to be good at it. I've also noticed with people within manful yoga, balance is usually okay in your 50s. When you hit your 60s, balance gets a lot tougher, right? So, um, and you might be in your 50s or your 40s and saying, like, well, I can't balance at all even now. So just be aware that balance does get more difficult as you get older, but you can always practice it. And it's easy to practice. Might not be easy to do, but it's easy to practice. Lift your left knee up a little bit higher. I want you to try and challenge your hip flexor strength here. So you should feel this muscle right in front of the left hip starting to get fatigued as you hold this. Really squeeze your right thigh. Bring your arms up. Press your arms up. So now I want you to get really big. So press your arms up as high as you can while looking at that non-moving point straight in front of you. Yes, your legs are getting tired. So are mine, right? That's how we get stronger. We hold things until we get tired and then beyond. Get a little bit bigger here. One more breath. And then release. Okay, let's go straight into the other side. You'll stop feeling sore as soon as you start the other side. So stand on your left foot now. Bring your right knee up to hip level. Go ahead and hold it there. Focus on your non-moving points. So find a specific spot on the wall. And then something I want you to avoid doing here is make sure you keep this leg, this planted left leg, as straight as possible. So if you're kind of bending your knee and allowing your hips to press forward, don't do that. Be mindful of that. Press down through your heel. I find that it helps to lean slightly forward. So instead of thinking leaning back and up, if you can think leaning slightly forward, that's going to put you in a better balanced position. Now, to start to make this more challenging, lift your right knee up a little bit higher. And something that happens here is you'll start to notice that your foot starts to cramp, right? Your foot starts to get tired. That's because most of us don't do a lot of balance stuff. So your feet will get tired. You have muscles in your feet, and that's a new realization. You also might notice that one of your legs is better at balancing than the other. This is also very normal. So one leg is going to be better. You're going to have a dominant leg, and that's to be expected. Go ahead and lift your arms up, press your arms up. And again, if this is hard, that's okay. That just means that you found something that's going to help you get stronger. One thing that I do recommend for balance, if you're really struggling with the balance and you want to be able to build strength, but your balance is just so poor right now that you can't stand at all, then hold on to something. Hold on to a chair, hold on to a wall. It's better to have proper technique with support than it is to have improper technique without support. So always use props, use things that are going to allow you to have proper technique. And then over time, you'll be able to work up to not having those props. But if you don't use the props at all and you need them, you're not going to get as strong as quickly. All right, go ahead and release. Whew. Okay, tough stuff. All right, so now we're going to do a standing side bend. And I really like doing this variation with a block because it adds a lot of strength. So hold a block between your hands. If you are tighter through your shoulders, you can hold the block longer like this. If you are more flexible, you can hold the block the skinny way. And if you're somewhere in the middle, hold it the middle way. So go ahead and lift your arms up, press the block together. So like you're going to, squish the block. Probably not going to happen. I've never seen it happen, but you could try it. Bend your knees a little bit, squeeze your butt to lengthen your tailbone down. A lot of people tend to arch their back like this when they do this position. I want you to create length in your lower back. Squeeze your abs, squeeze your thighs, squeeze your glutes. That'll bring your butt under your body. And then take a big breath in to get up, get tall. And then we're going to lean to the right, pressure hips toward the left, just lightly. And you'll notice that if you're used to doing a standing side bend, adding the block is going to make it a lot more challenging. Now, as you're here, breathe into your left rib cage. So if that doesn't make sense, as you inhale, try to puff out through your left chest area. As you exhale, allow yourself to go deeper. Inhale to go at length and get big. Exhale, go a little deeper. We're going to do 2 more breaths here. Make sure the arms stay back. So continue to squeeze your arms back. Don't let your arms sink forward. Last breath. Back to the middle. And then go ahead and release the block. Set that down. We're going to go into a high lunge twist. So right leg forward, left leg back. Knee over the ankle in the front foot. Press your heel toward the ground. So I want you to actually open up your ankle here. Don't lift the heel up off the ground. Yes, that's very pretty, but we don't need to do that. Push your heel toward the ground so you're feeling your calf stretch. Pick the ribs up away from the hips. Get some height. Bring your hands behind your head. Take a breath in. As you exhale, twist toward your right. Inhale to come back to middle. Exhale, twist toward your left. And then back to the middle. We're going 3 to each side here. So when you work on thoracic mobility, you want to use kind of a combination of back bends, side bends, and twist. So we just did a side bend, and now we're using a twist to build on that side bend. And again, these are movements that if you want to get better at them, you have to do them repeatedly. At least twice a week is good, 3 times a week is better. Anything above that is great. But you should be following a program, should be doing this stuff consistently in a structured way. All right, go ahead and release. Grab a block and go back to the other side now. So hold your block between your hands, toes touching, heels an inch apart. By the way, one guy-friendly modification here, if you're standing together and your testicles just hurt, right? If it hurts, if it's uncomfortable, you can put a block between your thighs like this. And this is actually a really good modification, not just for, the sake of your privates, sake of your balls, but it's also good because it allows you to have a little bit more inner thigh and core engagement. And that also takes pressure out of the back and the knees. So putting a block between your thighs when you have positions where your legs are supposed to be together is a really good modification. And I'm going to do that now just because it is good modification. So holding block overhead, squeezing the block between your thighs, bring your arms back. And as you exhale, to the left. Again, make sure that your arms are staying back here. You should be opening up mobility overhead as you're doing this. And then make sure that you maintain length to your body. Don't just collapse to the side. Right? There's a lot of yoga that I see where people just kind of collapse to the side without really maintaining integrity in terms of strength. So make sure that you are using your inhale to kind of reset and get tall and get controlled. And then your exhale can go deeper. 2 more breaths. Again, get tall through your body, lift your chest, squeeze the arms back, go a little deeper. Last breath. Then come back to the middle. Put one of your blocks down. And then, put both of your blocks down. We don't need either one of your blocks. And now left leg forward, right leg back. So going into high lunge, other side. When you squeeze your right glute, push your right heel toward the ground. Make sure the ribs stay lifted here. Even though the ribs are lifted, make sure that you're not arching your back here. So you want to stay neutral. So you're not arching, you're also not rounding forward. You're finding a middle position where it feels kind of relaxed. And then hands behind your neck. As you exhale, twist toward the left. Keep your hips squared forward. This is a super basic pose, but this is one thing that you can do to work really well on thoracic mobility. This is something that, again, if you can do it multiple times per week, that's where you're going to feel it the most. And the best way to be consistent is to follow a program. So if you're just here on YouTube, that's great. You've got a lot of stuff available to you here. But if you've been consistent here with those shorter 10, 15-minute workouts, and you're looking to get more significant results, that is where the Mental Yoga app and members area comes into play, right? Longer workouts, more structured programming, so you know that you're doing the right things to get stronger and get more flexible, and a lot more support and accountability. All right, and then go ahead and release. All right, so I want to take a minute here just to check in, see what the comments are saying. Leo, can you just tell me what people are saying? I've got my videographer here. He's going to help us out. And in the meantime, as you're hanging out here, feel free to do some movement. If you want to do some twists, you want to do some arm circles, the shoulders. These are all good things to do. Shoulder circles are seriously underrated, but this is something that you can do that's really basic, but really good for your shoulders. You can do these while you're going for a walk. So next time you go on a walk, do these with your arms. You might look crazy, but hey, that's okay. You can go side to side. So Cossack squats are pretty hard to do, but you can also do them where you're not going super deep into it, right? So keeping it from a wide-legged forward fold position, just going into one side, going into the other side, staying upright. A lot of yoga that we do is, staying in one position, but you can also do things where you are moving more dynamically, where you're doing reps. So a good idea is to make sure that you're doing both, not just the holds, but also reps. All right, Leo, what do we got? Cool, cool. All right. Yep. Yep. This is recorded. All right. You pop over to the members area, see what our people there are saying. Next tab on the right there. All right, cool. All right, so guys, we're gonna do some balance now. So more balance, I guess. So airplane is a really great balance pose, but it can also be pretty hard. So I'm going to show you how to do this in a way where it's more approachable. So I'm going to have you stack blocks. So if you don't have two blocks, standard yoga equipment, I'd highly recommend getting that if you want to make yoga a consistent part of your workouts. We do have our special Cork yoga equipment. It's a lot more heavy duty. It's durable. It weighs more. Also, the custom Cork yoga mat, which is better for a lot of reasons, but you can check that out at shop.manfulyoga.com if you want to learn more about that. So I'm going to start kind of like I would for a high lunge position. And a lot of the things that are happen in a high lunge are what happen in airplane. So from this position, keep your hips squared forward, kind of lean forward, keep your hips facing straight forward, start to straighten through your right leg. And you don't have to lock out that leg all the way, right? You can keep it slightly bent, especially if you're less flexible. I do want you to be active through this back leg. So notice that I'm not just letting this left leg kind of hang out, but I'm squeezing my left thigh, pointing the toes, and then squeezing my left hip up. You want to allow your chest to come forward a little bit, but make sure that you're not rounding down like this. I want you to find a neutral position. So ideally, if you're looking at yourself from the side, you're kind of forming a T shape with the body. Now, over time, right, maybe you can go down so that the blocks are on the ground. Maybe you can get the leg closer to a straight position. And you can also use the blocks to get your leg closer to a straight position, right? It's a lot easier to get straight through your legs when you have blocks set up like this versus keeping your hand on the ground and then trying to straighten your leg, right? So using these modifications that we talk about here, this is going to help you get stronger more quickly, increase flexibility more quickly because you're doing the poses as it applies to you instead of just doing, looking around the room and mirroring what other people are doing. I want you to do this for one more breath. See if you can lean forward just a little bit more. Reach the back leg up, push your head forward, and then come back up. All right, good job. That's airplane. Hamstring mobility, core strength, hip strength, ankle strength, a lot of good stuff there. Switch to the other side. Left leg's going to go forward, right leg's coming back. Pressure right heel toward the ground. Start in this upright position where, again, it's like it is a high lunge, but you're not going to change much from this position. Try to keep the chest is neutral, right? So we're not arching the back, we're not rounding forward. Your core is nice and engaged, the hips are squared forward, and then we're leaning forward. You've got the blocks to help. Shift some of that weight into the blocks, shift your body weight to your left foot, and then lift your right leg up. And you can either point or flex the toes, right? So if you want, you can point your toes back. You can also flex your toes toward you. Both of those work fine. I would make sure that you're being active through the feet somehow. So make sure that you are being active with the foot. Pointing or flexing, both are fine. Push down through your left hip. You want to externally rotate your left hip so that you're not facing over toward the right with your hips. So a lot of people will kind of open up toward the right. I want you to make sure that the hips are squared forward. Usually that means external rotation through your left hip. Right, so you're getting the outside of your hip to face to the outside. You're getting your quadriceps to face straight forward. Push your head forward, reach your toes back. Pull your belly button toward your lower back. So you want to feel your abs engage. Your lower back should be neutral here. Try to breathe slow and controlled in and out of the nose. And again, use the blocks. Use the props, guys. It's much better to have good technique with support than bad technique without it. And again, you'll get stronger faster if you use the appropriate modifications. And if you need more help with modifications, again, this is all that we do with Manful Yoga, right? We're helping you guys do yoga kind of on your terms, meeting you where you are with your flexibility and your skill level now, rather than expecting you to be an expert right away, which is, that's what happens with a lot of yoga. All right, let's go ahead and come back. Great job there. Right, I want to do one more balance posture and just check in and see where we are time-wise here. Okay, cool. We've got a good 10 minutes left. So I want to do a one-leg chair pose. And I think this is a really underrated balance pose because it doesn't require flexibility, but it's very good for strengthening your knees, your back, your hips, and your ankles. I think it's way better for guys than an eagle pose, which is really hard to do. for many reasons. So I'm going to start with your toes touching, heels an inch apart. And if that's uncomfortable, you can spread your feet a little bit so that you're more like this. I want you to allow your knees to come forward slightly and then bring your butt down and back. So as you're in this chair pose position, notice that my back is flat here, right? I'm not doing this with my back where I'm rounding my back, almost like I'm sticking my butt out behind me and pulling my abs toward my lower back. Back is neutral, knees are coming forward. So I feel weight in my hips, but I also feel weight in my knees. Shouldn't be painful, but you do want to feel weight in the hips and the knees. My my torso is straight here, right? So I'm not arching my back to stay upright. I'm not arching, I'm not opening up through the chest. I'm staying neutral through my chest. Bring your arms out in front of you. This is kind of level one. Level two would be arms overhead. Now from here, I want you to shift to your right foot and just hover your left foot off the ground. Now, as you're here, instead of allowing your hips to face over toward the left, I want you to keep your hips facing straight forward. And then you can shift to the left foot. Keep the hips squared straight forward, hover the right foot. And you're just going to go back and forth like this. Bring your arms out in front of you and switch. You can also bring your arms up if you want to make this more challenging. And you should keep weight, again, want to feel the weight through the quadriceps, yes, your knees, but also through your hips as you're going back and forth here. We'll do a couple more to each side. And if you're wobbly, that's a good thing. That means that your body is adapting to the exercise. So shaking is a good thing. Shaking is normal. Soreness is normal. You are getting stronger here. Soreness is part of the process of getting stronger. Last one. All right. And then we're up. And release. All right. So it wouldn't be yoga if we didn't do some sort of a back bend. So let's do a back bend. Grab a block, put one block between your thighs. Grab two blocks, actually. One block between your thighs, one block between your hands. Squeeze the block between your thighs. And this is a really important concept that we're going to go over here, but I want you to make sure that you stay long to the back of your neck. Don't just allow your head to fall backwards like this. I see this so much in yoga. It's awful. Keep length through the back here. You pull your chin in toward your throat. You push the top of your head away from your shoulders. Maintain height. From here, hold that block between your thighs. I would actually recommend holding it at mid length or the mid setting. Don't hold it at that. You can hold it at the wider setting too, but having a little bit of extra space in the shoulders, especially for guys, is a good idea. So arms up with the block, neck long, chin in toward the throat, top of the head away from the body. You also have that block between the thighs, and then squeeze your arms back. So just 30 seconds here, but just a really good, strong, honest back bend. You don't have to go deep into a back bend in order for it to be effective. So don't worry about, making this impressive for Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is. So you're just focusing on strength through the back, right? No pinching, maybe some discomfort just because it's challenging, but no pain. Inhale to breathe up, lift the block a little higher. Exhale, lean back a little bit more. Last 5 seconds here. And then release. Whew. All right. So there's our back bend. Got some hip openers, hamstring openers. We did some hip flexibility stuff. Let's do one more pose here. I'm going to do a wide-legged forward fold. And we're going to use a strap. So this is a really good one for your shoulders. It's also really good for the hips. And if you have knee pain when you squat, if you have difficulty lifting your arms overhead without pain, or if you feel your shoulders hurt the day after you do an upper body exercise or an upper body focused day, this is going to help with that. And again, doing this kind of stuff on a consistent basis is going to address the underlying causes of pain when you lift. So when you do this stuff consistently enough, you're going to notice that those daily aches and pains that you get from lifting are going to start to go away, and you'll realize, oh my God, lifting is so much better now that I'm doing yoga on a consistent basis. All right, so strap behind your back. Make sure that, so go ahead and look at me here. You want to make sure that the elbows are facing back like this, right? I'm not holding with my palms facing out. My palms are facing forward. Standing in a wide-legged position. Bend your knees a little bit, squeeze your thighs, press into the outer edges of your feet, and then lift your arms away from your back. Bring your chest forward. And then if you are tighter through your hips, you're not going to come that far forward, right? You're going to bend your knees. You're going to focus on length through the front of your body. If you're more flexible, you can bring your chest closer to the ground, right? You can straighten your legs. But if you are less flexible, you're probably going to stay closer to up here. You can also bend your knees. The focus here, you want to feel a lot of strengthening through your upper back. You'll feel some opening through your chest. You're also going to feel opening through the inner thighs and your hamstrings. Slow, controlled breathing in and out of the nose as you hear. Make sure that your shoulders aren't coming up near the ears. Try to push them away. Right, so kind of push them away from your ears. Squeeze the arms up higher. Continue to squeeze your thighs. Stay active through your abs and your hips. Make sure that you're not passively forward folding here. So you don't want to just collapse your body, but stay strong through your thighs. Stay strong through the hips and core. Do one more breath here. All right. And then go ahead and come up. All right, guys. So that's what I got for you today. If you're watching this live, or if it is not already May 22nd at 4 p.m. Central Time, then join me for another one of these in a couple of days. Steer on YouTube or also in the Manful Yoga app and members area. We're going to be focusing more on recovery in this next session. So this one was very much focused on performance. This one was more focused on building strength, building active mobility to help with underlying causes of weightlifting pain or just lack of mobility that most lifters have, either as a result of lifting dominant exercise regimes, or you just spend a lot of time sitting and you're tight because you're not doing enough twisting or enough hip opening. So Thursdays is going to be more focused on recovery. So that's going to be focused on stretching tight muscles, stretching sore muscles that will make joints hurt just because they're, overworked. So that's a session that you can do that's lower intensity, still going to be, somewhat intense. It will still be challenging, but from a different perspective. It'll be challenging because you have to push yourself to hold the poses, but not as challenging from an intensity perspective, physical intensity, if that makes sense. So join me there. And then I'm also going to be doing a full 2-week series. So I've got this week. This week is free, but I'm going to be doing 4 more of these sessions in a paid program in the Manful Yoga app and members area. So if you want to join me for more follow along routines, there's going to be a link in the description below. You can sign up for those. It's $45 for all 4 of them. And then you get to keep them for forever afterwards. So you get to view them in the Manful Yoga app and members area, and then you can use them afterwards as well, even if you can't join live. So yeah, inspiration behind this series, guys, is I do a lot of lifting on my own. My program involves yoga, lifting. I do a lot of walking, that's the main stuff that I do. But I noticed that sometimes my lifting gets more priority than my yoga. So I'm doing this because I want to show you guys, this is what I would do if I had an hour to do yoga on off days, or if I did do yoga on off days. These are the kind of workouts that I would do. And I've also spoken with a lot of people in the community where the focus is on their other workouts, and yoga is kind of this nice to have, but it's not something that you really make a priority for and do on a consistent basis. So this is showing you how you can integrate yoga, specifically, more strength focused, more performance focused yoga into your lifting or your gym workouts to not only get better at your gym workouts, but also make sure that you're taking care of your body, you're able to work out consistently, and you're building strength and flexibility for the long term. So hopefully this is helpful for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And then check out the links below for the programs. Also, if you want to check out the 7-day trial to the Manful Yoga app and members area, again, tons of workouts in there and structured programs that will allow you to be consistent and get results. And then I also encourage you to check out the weightlifting focus that we have in the Manful Yoga app and members area. So we have a whole section called Focus where you can view programs or workouts based on theme, and we have one specifically for weightlifting. So if you have more questions, leave them in the comments section. Guys, I want to say thank you for, again, thank you for joining me. I hope you guys can join me on the next workout. So there. Um, yeah. All right. Do. Let me switch over to my different microphone here. Switch over. All right. Here we go. Now I'm on the other camera and I get to read comments. Let's see here. All right. All right. So let's see here. Looking at comments. Some of the sound is going in and out. Well, that's unfortunate. Hopefully it's okay now. Um, Cork mat and knee block. I'm waiting to see if the blocks go on sale. They do not go on sale, Guy. Just letting you know, the blocks don't go on sale, especially now because of our tariffs. There will be no sales on blocks. um, all right. Other people saying thank you. Cool. Questions about testosterone. There's a lot of leg and core here. Yeah, testosterone. Sure, it'll help with testosterone. We have testosterone workouts specifically, and I've done some podcasts on testosterone with some other testosterone experts. So check those out. Oops, lost you. Let's see here. Great workout. Thanks, Dean and team. Good compliment to the shorter workouts. Ryan, my gym day is tomorrow. In general, how soon after should I do a recovery workout after I'm done? I would do it the day afterwards. So you want to make sure that you do some sort of recovery for your gym workouts the day afterwards. If you wait too long, if you wait 2 days, that's giving you enough time. That's giving your body too much time. A lot of the soreness is going to set in, and you're going to feel more sore than you need to. So do make sure that you do some sort of active recovery, some movement the day after your workout. So this kind of thing that we just did is great for it. These are the kind of workouts, again, this is what I do. If I have an hour to do yoga, this is the kind of thing that I would do between Monday and Wednesday, between my lifting days. And then I also like to make sure to do some yoga. I like to make sure to do yoga in the mornings. So usually when I wake up, I'll do, 10, 15. Maybe if I have time, I'll do even longer than that. Maybe I'll do like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, but it all just depends on how much time I have and when my kids wake up. So for me, that's how I fit into my schedule. And then I make sure to use my off days to do yoga. And the good thing about yoga is that it's not super taxing from a central nervous system perspective. So you can do a pretty intense workout and still adequately cover the day afterwards for your lifting sessions, which do take just a bit more intensity. So yoga is something that you can very easily fit into your off days, even if you don't feel like doing it, right? You're going to feel better for doing it. So that's something that we pretty consistently hear in Manful Yoga is, I feel so much better after I do it. And I know that my body feels better when I'm doing it consistently. And to you guys in the Manful Yoga members area, thank you guys for already being here and doing this workout consistently, being part of this community. And if you guys aren't in the Manful Yoga members area yet, it is so relatively inexpensive for what you get and the impact that it has on your life. I would encourage you guys to sign up for a 7-day trial at manfulyoga.com/join. If you get on our email list, we also have promotions from time to time. So you can wait for a promotion, save 30, save $40 a year if you want to do that. But if this is something that's you would value for your health at $15 a month, then this is something that you would ideally sign up for now. And we have so much in here that's going to help you be more consistent, get better results, and a great community to make it fun, to make you feel supported, and honestly, just to make it easier. It's easier when you have a program, when you have structure, and when you have people who are with you doing it, as opposed to you trying to do it on your own. So highly encourage you guys to sign up for the Manful Yoga app and members area. That is what all this is for. That is where everything occurs. So again, hopefully you can join me there. And I recognize it's not for everybody, and that's okay. So for those of you guys who aren't interested in that, I'm also interested to see, like, do you guys just want to do live workouts with me? Which is why I'm offering this live yoga for weightlifting series. we've got, again, another one this week, but we've got a couple more per week for the next 2 weeks. So 4 more of those. So maybe you just want to do live workouts. Maybe you don't want a subscription. I don't know. Maybe you can do this on your own, but whatever the reason, feel free to leave a comment and let me know. But yeah, all right, guys. Thank you for being here. I am going to sign off before I ramble too much. Check the links in the description for anything that we talked about here. Otherwise, I will look forward to seeing you for the live workout if it's not too late. And you can also watch the recorded versions of the live workouts either way. So subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video if you found it helpful. Leave a comment if you have a question or anything else I talked about in here. I'll see you guys on